state government, we told you earlier that have directed residents living around floodplains and erosion spots to vacate these danger zones before it is too late. And according to the advisory, they are saying that the rainfall predicted in July in some states is going to be heavy. So let's bring in our guest analyst now, Gamaliel Tanimomo, strategist and management consultant. He joins us virtually now. Thank you for joining us, Gamaliel. Good morning to you. It's good to see you again after a long while.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good morning, Frank, and good morning to our listeners.
Okay. Yes, so I'm sure you've seen the story, you're following that development and some of the latest revelation coming from NEMA there. So talk to us about this. This is not the first time, year in, year out, we see the impact of flooding across the state of Nigeria. So how well do you think we're prepared this time around?
So there's a cliche that says history does not repeat itself, men do. And I'm, to say the least, disappointed that we are still talking about flood issues. This issue is a perennial one, and we have all the data or lack of data to validate what will likely happen. So the question is, what is preventing us from executing? Last year, we had a crisis on our hands, from Delta to Ondo. The dams were released, and it cost loss of lives and properties, almost spiked, shortage of foodstuff. And this year, we are already talking about the rains again. So the question is, when are we going to stop talking? When are we going to start acting? What remedial measures have state governors put in place, particularly states that are likely to be affected by all these areas? What is the government doing, particularly to ensure that urban planning is carefully done? If you come to Lagos State, most of the sites that are being developed right now are sandfields, and you wouldn't expect a backlash from the rain or the erosions when it comes. So let us stop talking. Let us rise up and do something. NEMA should do something. It is time to act. Otherwise, next year, all other things being equal, we will come back here in July and be talking about this issue.
But if you look at these, there are about 14 states as highlighted by this report: Plateau, Kano, Sokoto, you have Kaduna, you have Akwa Ibom, and of course you have Yola, Katsina, Kebbi, Zamfara, Borno, Jigar, Kwara, and Niger State. There are about 14 of them. Yes, in as much as NEMA will have to do more than what they are doing now. So I'm thinking that perhaps they don't even have the resources, as it were, to do much more they are doing now, rather than by revealing or bringing this information out there. But I think we also need to put these at the doorsteps of the government. What is the federal government doing about it? What is the state government doing about it to relocate, perhaps create a permanent solution to this? Because it is not enough to sound this warning, but I think much more than sounding this warning is that we need to start taking steps to address it.
I agree with your submission, but we know that the government is limited, and all governments in the world are limited. Let me also say that there are roles that as individuals we must also play. So when it's raining, don't throw stuff into the flood. Don't build your house over a drainage or a canal. Those are few things. We want to do the big things, but we can do small things in big ways. The government has a lot of issues to deal with. So will it allocate all its funding or all its funds to building this, to building that? Yes, NEMA is limited in resources, but the state governments also have to rise to the occasion. And you know how state governors are. They usually will go knee and tap to go and meet the federal government. And the federal government is helpless. So all stakeholders, you, myself, our neighbors, state government, local government, even the federal government, should be involved in ensuring that July next year, we will not be here and be addressing possible flood issues in 14 states, maybe now to be 28 states of the Federation. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, let's get quickly. Let's look at 2 more stories before I let you go. The next one, of course, is the unified exchange rate, as CBN has spent about $17.81 billion to strengthen the naira. But it looks like the recent unification really has created a lot of multiple effects or negative impact in that market, with the fact that even the official exchange rate is high, to the surprise of many, and the gap between the parallel market, though is closing, but it's still there. So how concerned are you that we're still having these challenges in the forex market after the unified exchange rate policy?
So when we expect the unified exchange rate to stabilize rates, it is like asking for too much. It will not happen. It's not a walk in the park. It has to be gradual. There has to be a balance, an equilibrium between monetary and physical policies for this unified exchange rate to happen. So we will experience temporary discomfort from this, and which is understandable. Dollar is just dancing, having a free fall against the naira. But I'm sure that with time, things will even out. The intervention of the CBN by injecting 17.8 billion to bolster the weak naira is a timely intervention, because we can't eat your cake and have it. If the federal government has come up with a unified exchange rate, it has the fiduciary responsibility to also support the current weakness of the naira. So while we await the president's economic team, I know there is the SSC on monetary policy, astute, professional, sound guy. I'm looking forward to his cabinet. I'm looking forward to the Minister of Finance. I'm looking forward to the CBN governor, even though we have someone in substantive position. So the pains will be temporary, but I'm sure that with time, the laws of demand and supply, market forces will even this out. That is my recommendation.
All right. Well said. I mean, let's move to the next story quickly, which of course is one of the biggest stories of the day. How that the investment in the telecom sector has risen to as $75.6 billion in the last 5 years. And that's, of course, NCC is putting that on the back of 5G and some innovations in the sector as well. So talk to us about how excited are you about these? Again, and much more, how do we move forward from this point we are now? But there are quite a lot of challenges beyond this record of investment. The sector still has a lot of challenges to be addressed.
Okay, so I'm interested. I'm excited. The government, the president, during his inaugural speech, said he was going to create 1 million jobs this year. I think that the telecom sector is one of those sectors that can trigger and provide those jobs if we look at it very well and not kill the golden goose, or the goose that lays the golden egg, as they will always say. I'm concerned about 5G because we have not even optimized 4G. So why are we going to 5G? I mean, optimization of 4G is, I'm not sure it's up to 50% in the country. We have issues around data, around harmonization of data, around data security, etc., etc. But it's good news that the investment have hit $75.6 billion. I would expect the government to look into non-oil sectors so that we can reduce pressure on the oil and gas sector, grow telecoms, grow agri, grow mining, offer tax incentives, etc., etc. So there are interesting times ahead. I'm excited, and I'm sure that foreign investors are also looking at the body language of the government, and this will spur interest.